I don't know how to start.
We don't know how to start.
So we'll just start. So,
How was your life?
my life. It's not a good start. Don't start with that. It's hard. Anyway, so I recently did ketamine treatments. My psychologist said that I should make a video to tell people how it went. Because it's kind of a new thing. I don't really like making videos. It's sort of weird. Plus, my hair is wet. And I don't have makeup on. But it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Because we're happy now.
Because we're happy now.
No, I think it'd be good if you could explain like your level of depression and anxiety before ketamine. Why did we need to go get ketamine?
This sounds like an interview.
What happened when we asked for my help?
Oh, okay. So, before ketamine treatments, I don't think a lot of people realize like how bad it actually was, because I'm pretty like outwardly functional. I think when I was out of the house, I was perceived as being functional mostly. Like went to work most of the time. You know, other people thought that things weren't as bad. Like everybody knows that I was depressed, but nobody really knew like the extent of it. So I just turned 34, and I like to say that I've been depressed for probably 34 years. I don't remember a time in my life when I was particularly happy. I don't think, I think I've always had like excessive worrying, anxiety, depression, just general like discontent feeling with a lot of things. Basically everything, a ton of social anxiety, just constant anxiety with basically everything around me. Even the littlest tasks would give me like crushing anxiety, but I was pretty good at hiding it. Pretty good at not showing other people. You know, my anxiety could be like an 8 out of 10, and on the surface I would look okay. So I think people didn't really understand the extent of it. My therapist asked me like how many times I've actually like made attempts at suicide or gotten close to making attempts, and it's probably like 15 or 20. I've been hospitalized a couple times in mental facilities. I've taken medication upon medication upon medication. Never really helped to the extent where I felt better. Like, took the edge off. Some of it took like the very bottom, and the bottom worst part away. That's my cat, one of them. We've got a lot. But my doctor and I decided a couple years ago that we found a medication that I could tolerate, but it didn't really help, but it took some of it away. So for the last probably 3 years, I've just been on one antidepressant, a low dose, because I can't handle higher doses, because it makes me freak out. So I just kind of been dealing with it. And you know, I went through periods where I slept for like 14, 16, 18 hours a day. Most of my life has been spent just going to work or getting through my daily obligations, and then not doing anything else. Like helping with homework didn't happen. Housework didn't happen. Any extra things didn't happen because I was too exhausted and overwhelmed and just done by the time I functioned enough to get through the part of the day that I had to get through. Stopped working full time a long time ago because I couldn't get through that many hours in a day where I would be okay. Oftentimes left work in the middle of the day because it would be too overwhelming for me. I would have too much anxiety about it. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but...
And in addition to medication, you tried long periods of time of counseling.
Oh yes, I've been in counseling with a great counselor, therapist, psychologist
PhD psychologist.
For 4 years. It's been helping, like it helps, but it's not, it's like it doesn't take it away. It doesn't make it better, and it's hard, really, really hard to work on it constantly. And I feel like for probably the last 4 years, I've been working on it consciously every single day, and I still did go through periods where I just felt like I couldn't do it anymore. And like, I didn't want to do it anymore. And I don't remember a time in my life where, like, there's been times when I haven't been like actively suicidal, but I don't remember a time in my life where I wanted to live more than I wanted to die. Like, I just have always kind of had the stance, like, I don't care if I die. And it just doesn't, it never really mattered to me, one way or the other. Take it or leave it. It didn't matter. So I kind of stumbled upon this like article or research study or something. We were looking for something for people with borderline personality disorder, because that's one of my diagnoses: borderline personality disorder, depression, anxiety, PTSD, PMDD, I don't know, whatever else I have.
Yeah, so I think we were really looking for, are there any clinical trials for anything new that we could explore with any of that, and stumbled on some studies out of both Yale and NIH regarding ketamine treatment in depression, and PTSD and anxiety. Started looking into it, actually got to the point of looking for, if there were any clinical trials that we could apply for. And there were several that we could probably have qualified for.
But we live in Idaho.
Yeah, it would have been
Idaho's
tough.
not big on clinical trials.
And then you go somewhere and, there's a potential that you get a placebo, there's potential that you don't, and some of them had really strict requirements, like you have to go off all your medication cold turkey for several weeks before you start this trial, and that probably wasn't going to work for us. So at that point, we just started doing just some research and found that there are ketamine clinics in one in Idaho, two in Idaho, I guess, one in Spokane. Spokane's a little bit closer.
Spokane's not Idaho.
Right.
You implied that it was.
Oh yeah, Spokane's Washington.
It is.
Closer than our going to Boise. And so we made a call, and I guess maybe if you could take it from, they did a kind of a quick screening on the call just to make sure that you would be a candidate, right?
Yeah, so they asked me some questions on the phone call, and I was kind of at the point where I didn't care. I didn't care if it worked or not. If I didn't have Zach kind of pushing forward, I would have stopped. I didn't think it was going to work. They did some screening questions on the phone, just some preliminary ones to make sure it was even worth our time to really go up there. So then we decided it was, and there's some, I guess, inclusion criteria or sort of requirements for getting this, and
some exclusion criteria.
Some exclusion criteria and some things that you've had to have tried or done or whatever to be a candidate for even having this treatment. So we went through that, and then, we went ahead, and I think Zach kind of eagerly scheduled the appointments.
I think from beginning when we started thining about this, to our first appointment was like 2 weeks or less.
So yeah, during that 2 weeks, I kind of went back and forth between I absolutely don't want to do this, I don't, and I think that was kind of like I didn't want to try another thing just to like have it fail
Could
because
be.
I've tried a lot of things. I didn't want to just try another one to be let down again.
I think there's a real question, like, could you handle one more failure? Like,
No,
what was left after that?
I kind of decided in my, like, if it didn't work, I didn't think I had any other options. Like, I felt like I was either going to die or feel terrible forever. I was to the point where I didn't want to feel terrible anymore, but I don't know. So anyway, we got through the 2 weeks and drove up there. It was the most.
And the first appointment, on the first appointment, obviously you have to have a prescription for ketamine. Brandis' primary care physician. We never asked, but it would have been unlikely, which I think is a situation that most people are in, like going to your primary care physician or even your psychiatrist and asking for this. I think that would be kind of going out there for most people's comfort zone. This ketamine clinic in Spokane works with a nurse practitioner that specializes in mental health. And so the first appointment was actually with her, and it was actually kind of a screening, and it was more of a psychiatry appointment.
Sort of just like ask me questions about my history and about like my diagnosis and about how many medications I've been on, how I was feeling, did all the regular like how depressed are you paperwork that I don't really like that paperwork, but it is what it is. They have to have some sort of measurement tool. And I was obviously in the severely depressed category, which is not a surprise because I'm always in the severely depressed category. Like, the worst one you can get, whatever highest score you can get on that, I get. So we did that, and then.
And the nurse practitioner defined, so indicated for treatment-resistant depression, PTSD, and anxiety, and defined treatment-resistant depression as having tried 2 or more different classes of antidepressants, each for a period of 3 months or longer, which Brandis has tried everything. And in addition, she was really wanted to know that you were seeking some sort of counseling,
Right, it wasn't just
mental
trying to
health support.
do it on my own.
And if you still had, severe depression and had tried those, then she classified by her definitions that as treatment-resistant depression. Provided that you didn't have any of the exclusion criteria, she then recommended that ketamine treatment was the way to go, and so she wrote the prescription, and then that started the first ketamine treatment.
Yeah, and before that, I kind of told my psychologist I was doing this, and he was kind of like, okay. I didn't really give him a choice. I just told him, like, I'm doing it. And he was a little bit hesitant. He was also really, really excited. He didn't know, he hasn't had any his other patients do it. Didn't really know what to expect. So he was kind of on board hesitantly. So,
But he did want to make sure that he had good way to track
my
progress, track mood, track, is this helping or not? And so that last appointment with him before we went up there, and also with the nurse practitioner while you were up there and kind of your pre-appointment, both
kind of like just making sure that I was a good candidate and knew what I was doing, and
getting some baseline data,
getting some baseline, like how depressed are you, how anxious are you, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, after I met with the nurse practitioner, Zach was with me. Sort of just, since we drive so far, I did the first ketamine treatment that same day, same evening, and I was like super nervous, pretty much in tears, was just swearing up and down it was going to make me worse. I told her, the first lady who administered it, I told her that if there's any possibility that this makes me worse, I will not be able to handle that. I said, if this makes me even a little bit worse, I will not be able to live through it. And
which, I mean, it's real. Like every medication that anybody's ever been on for depression, one of the potential side effects is suicidal thought. There's not a medication out there that doesn't list that as a potential side effect. And so that was one thing that was very
Yeah.
concerning. Like there was no way you were going to be able to handle more.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there like pretty much crying, asking her like, is this going to make me worse? I can't walk out of here if it makes me worse.
Has this ever made anybody
worse ever? Which, you know, obviously they've seen a couple cases where it has like these outliers over here, but most people know. You know, I was really, really hesitant because I've never done any sort of like drugs, and that's in my mind what I was comparing it to at the time. I don't drink anymore. I don't do anything like that, and that's kind of what I was equating it to the whole time before I did it, which just isn't really the case. Now I view it more as like a medical procedure that happens with qualified medical personnel in a doctor's office under supervision. It's like highly what is the word I'm looking for? Like regulated, like controlled. That's what it is. Anyway, so the procedure is basically they give you an IV and run like normal saline, and then they give you, you know, ketamine based on your body weight. And it was weird. The first time was weird. Like, it's definitely a different feeling. For me, it wasn't like euphoric or exceptionally happy, but it wasn't like negative either. It was just sort of it wasn't real. Obviously wasn't
There was a dissociation from your reality.
Disassociating from the reality, but it wasn't like overwhelmingly positive or overwhelmingly negative. It was just like factual. This is happening. This is happening.
The first one you cried a lot.
The first one I cried a lot. Yeah. A lot of like PTSD memories coming up. And anyway, so after the first one, on the ride home, we drove home 3.5 hours that night, and I actually think that my husband might have cried a little bit because I was like out of it a little bit. I was sort of nauseous and not dizzy and not really feeling that good, but I was like happy. I was like genuinely happy. I'm gonna cry now. I was like genuinely happy, and I like laughed and I sang songs, and it was the first time that I had been happy for a long time. And I've had, like, my whole life, I've had, like, moments of that. But I've never had it. You know? I've never, like, had it and it stayed and it was there. And I went home after the first one, and it was, like, I was happy on the drive home. I felt like shit. Like, I was dizzy and I wanted to throw up, but I was freaking singing, and it...
And you had no anxiety. That was
I had no anxiety. I was not... I just didn't... I wasn't worried about things, and I wasn't freaking out. Like, I wasn't stressing out. I didn't think the whole way home that a truck was going to run into us and kill us. Like, it's just like, it was gone. And the weight that I've carried around forever, just like this, just unrelenting weight that I've carried is just gone. And I couldn't. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was kind of mad because something so simple, like, just made me happy. And I never had that.
I've never really seen this happy tears before.
Now I have emotions. I never used to have emotions except for pissed and depressed. Yeah, so I kept going up, and I got 5 more treatments because the initial series is 6. Over 2 weeks. So, and then people started like I've never considered myself to really have friends, but like, I'm gonna just cry for this whole stupid thing.
This is the happy part.
People started saying, oh my God, I've never seen you smile before. And I've never seen you laugh before. Like, literally, there's people I've known for years who had never seen me laugh before. Like, I always just kind of existed, like, in a sort of like a monotone state just to kind of regulate myself, because I would get too overwhelmed. So I just kind of always existed like in the middle socially so I could get through the day. But people started telling me, like, you look so much better, you're smiling, you know, it was like singing songs, and I was talking to people, and
You never really think about like the impact that depression has on like your social existence. Like, you don't have friends because you're so depressed. You don't have positive social interactions because
oh, the phone's dead. Maybe it's not. Whatever. It's not like people didn't like me. It's just like I couldn't function. Like I couldn't go to social functions because I couldn't handle it.
you couldn't be a friend to anybody.
I couldn't be a friend to anybody because I couldn't even handle my own life. Yeah. It's like it's been 2 weeks now, and I'm just like happy. Like I can get sad. Like it's not like I'm never sad and I'm in this state of euphoria. I can get sad, but it doesn't stay. It's like I can understand it, and it's not like, it doesn't like weigh me down. I can see it and like, okay, I'm sad about this, and then I can work on it instead of just being like done. And
anxiety.
I don't having like I worry about things, but it's not like unreasonable anxiety. It's not like crushing. It's not unrealistic. Like I couldn't go to the bank. Like I would have checks for months because I couldn't bring myself to go to the bank. It's literally across the street from my job. I could not walk across the street and go to the bank because I couldn't bear the thought of it. I would have months would go by until my anxiety about not doing it would overwhelm my anxiety about doing it. Same with the post office. I work at the pharmacy and I couldn't pick up my own prescription pills. I can do that stuff now. I went to my daughter's award ceremony at school, and I can do that now, and it's not hard for me. It's not like I don't have to gear myself up for it. I just do it. I can have their friends over without dreading it. You know, and it's only been 2 weeks, but it's like I'm the same. The phone's messing up. Can't record audio. Another app is running the mic. I don't know what app it is. Anyway, it would be weird. He's gonna edit it later. Anyway. But so it's been 2 weeks, and I did my depression inventory score today, and I got a 1. Like, I've never got a 1. It's like in the not depressed category. What, like, I don't understand. It's like the questions, like, the questions have never seemed weird to me. They've always been so relatable. Yeah. And now the questions are just like, no, I don't do that anymore. I don't think that anymore. I'm not suicidal anymore. Like, it's the strangest thing ever. I don't even know how to explain it. I got my life. I don't even want to say I got my life back. It's like I got my life. Like,
we got our life.
We got our life, and my kids got their mom.
I got my wife.
And I've never been that like, people have seen glimpses of that person before, but it's been like I've been like solidly like this for like 2 weeks, and I've had like, it's not. I don't want to give the impression that it's like, oh my god, every single problem in my life is fixed right now. Because like there's still stupid shit, but like it doesn't.
You get through it.
I get through it, and I can function through it. It doesn't like handicap me. Yeah. It doesn't. Whatever the other words for that are. It doesn't knock me out of commission. I can still function even though like something bad happens. I can still function. Even I can do things by myself. I can talk to people by myself. I can go places by myself. I just think that all of the things that I didn't even know were an issue because I've done them my whole entire life It's now like, oh, I never really realized what was stopping me from doing that before. But
I honestly think that ketamine saved your life.
yeah, probably. Yeah.
And I guess so. The what's next, ketamine is it doesn't last forever. It wears. The effects, diminish over time. Could be anywhere between a month to 6 months or longer. We don't know how long it's going to last. We're really encouraged that the effect was so immediate after the first treatment. And at this point, like, it's worked for 2 weeks. If it works for another 2 weeks, we'll be damn happy, and we'll
Go do it again.
Do it again, like whatever it takes. Obviously, hopefully it lasts a little bit longer, but at this point, if we had to do this once a month,
well worth it.
Worth every
It's kind
cent.
of, people are like, oh my god, how'd you spend that much money? And it's like, how did I not spend that much money?
How do you not?
It's not that bad as far as like the things I can do now, and I will gladly spend that much money in, because I know what's on the other side now. And just,
we spend that much money like buying coffee in a year, like doing stupid things in a year. Like, why would you not put that money towards your health, your
and
life?
like getting yourself back, or finding yourself, or figuring out, not trying to sit in my bathroom and kill myself because it's Tuesday and I hate Tuesdays. Like, just stupid stuff like that. Like, it's, I can't.
It's miraculous.
It really is. And I'm not, we're not like being paid by the ketamine clinic. We have nothing, we have no stake in this other than the fact that we want other people to know that there is hope, because I was out of hope. I didn't think that anything would help me. I didn't think there was anything left. And there was, and it turned out to be the thing that I needed. And just, it's what I needed. I think the last time I tried to kill myself was on a Tuesday, and I think the first time I got ketamine was on a Wednesday. Either the day after, the week after. It was the week after. Yeah, but I don't feel that way anymore. I look back and it's like a different period of my life, even though it was probably only 3 weeks ago now, or 4 weeks ago. That's gone. That feeling is gone, and that feeling's never been gone.
And now we have a tool and a treatment that even if those feelings come back, we have something we can do about it, so that it's not going to be sitting on the bathroom floor figuring out how to kill yourself anymore. Like, we have a way to get through this.
There's
now
hope, and that's what I needed, because that's what I was done. And now, like, I'm not done anymore, and I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, we're happy.
Too. And I'm gonna cry and whatever. Anyway, sorry for the awkward video. Just decided to do it because it seemed like a good time.
Hey.
Thanks.